1, 2. Good evening, everybody. Hey, this is gonna be one of my lesson 7 on my module. Just gonna be a snippet of what one of the most important endgame backward move concepts are: triangulation, freaking Zooglong. This is a freaking boss battle analysis between Bombers and Linens, 2004. Scenario is that move 36 in near position is nearly equal. White's king is a god on the e4 god, meaning it's at the best central position. Now let's start the game. E4, C5 response to Sicilian defense, knight F3, knight C6, D4. Freaking C takes D4, knight takes D4, knight F6, knight freaking C3, freaking E6. Continue to move on. Castle's kingside, castle kingside, H6, F4. Alright, over and over. Let's go and move. Let's see. And let's just even, this is the main mistake of the game. Why? Because the king allows the king to take opposition and immediately gives black the 3-2 pawn advantage for absolutely no reason. Even though it's a backwards pawn, the king has so much activity and black is completely destroyed by the opposition of the king. It continues that one move of taking a bad move with the king through the entire game line, because now everything is going to trade it off right now. And look at this. Black simply trades off these 2 pawns while to simplify the position, and he knows black's going to move. So it's 1, 2, 3. The king has 1, 2, 3, 4. Because of the skip of turns, literally, it just becomes a completely losing endgame. Why? Because the king has the red carpet, move here, on there, win game. So let's even go back and figure out what white did wrong. Back to move the thing after the game. Right, king to d7, king to d7. Let's play to the computer and see how well I can do. This. Okay. How do I say? Like optics. Freaking here. Black takes opposition. I want to say right takes back. Again. And it's like screw this one. sometimes why having the move is a weakness. The logic of Zuzan, which is a German term meaning the compulsion to move. This is me playing against Stockfish Depth 18 against a very endgame in 2004, Womberg vs. Lions, a King and Pawn endgame, which let's go back. What's it called? Where it's around move 37, where it's move 35, and White makes the losing move of moving his king right here. Instead, I take over the game and force a draw between Stockfish of level 18 to the concept of triangulation. In the most simplest terms, triangulation is the concept of losing a tempo. It's a maneuver to lose a tempo, wasting moves to put your opponent back in Zuzan. This is module 4 of Advanced Pawn and King Mechanics. This is lesson 7 on my module. Triangulation, the waiting move. Losing a tempo on purpose to put the opponent in Zuzan. As I said before, the compulsion to move. The cheat is if it's your turn, but you wish it was your opponent, and you have to move out the way. Move your king in a small triangle. It's like for example, to put a visual on the board. Here, here, here. Any type of little baby triangle to waste moves to force your opponent into Zuzan. This is the game that, in this scenario, as we go in, and I'm going to describe the notation, e4s, obviously, King Pawn's opening, Sicilian defense response, Knight f3, Knight c6, Pawn to d4, Pawn takes to d4, Knight takes d4, f6, Knight to c3, e6, Bishop e2, Bishop b4, Knight Queen d3, castles, h6, f4, grabbing more space, d5, e takes d5, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, queen takes d5, c3, bishop to c5, bishop to e3, and just continuously moving, and we're going to move into the game where it's about to hit the 30th move. As you can go back, I just simplified to a rook and what and what am I talking about? Two rooks, black has two rooks, and white has two rooks. The pawn counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. White has an isolated pawn, but the rook is playing a defensive role. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 to 5 pawn majority, and black has a better pawn structure, which was the wisest thing to do. As of white is to force the rooks off the board through a trade. Takes, queen takes, rook takes, rook blocks and forces all the rooks off the board to a king and pawn endgame. Immediately now, white has how many squares to get to the center? Is 1, 2. Let's count. 1, 2, or 1, 2. Black has 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Those moves, like the king getting into the center, makes an absolute difference. Why? Because if your king's here, what's this square, this square, this square, this square, this square, this square, this square. This king is here. Same concept. A 3x3 grid is locked down by your king. So white, in this sense, even though Stockfish says it's losing, white has the advantage because he has the more active king. He gets into the key square of e5. So now all the pawns start to push and to make more of a close position. In this game, as I take over for white, white decides to make the move over here, which gives black the absolute position to force the king to a passive role, which absolutely rules the game. Me, myself, seeing the opportunity of the king losing this king square, I immediately take the chance to triangulate and flank and force my opponent into a worse position. In this against Stockfish 18, the waiting move was flanking to king to f6. King went to d6, king to g5, king to d5, king to g6, e5. I take the pawn right away to stop the threat immediately. King takes e5, king takes h5, b4, king to g6, king to d4, king takes f5, king to c3, king to g4, king to b3. h4, a2, it goes, Stockfish puts the white carpet on the pawn's remote, which is 3 squares. I have 3 squares in total of 2. Pay attention, and it's Stockfish's move, so it's technically 2 to 3. Wait, 1, pawn race, immediately promote at the same square, positions equally equal, and now it's just a forced spam of checks on my end. Into Stockfish forces a perpetual check, which I take the immediate draw, depth level 18. What does this teach? That if you go back and see that I force your draw because of the move of taking, if you go back, I think it's here, taking this key square. This king was playing a very important role. As black gave up the opportunity, it gave into a forced draw because of me flanking behind these pawns. Look, 1, 2. As I played, I took the opposite square. Why? Because the king attacks this one and this one, this one and this one. And black cannot invade here to protect both pawns. The king, and even if black goes up here, it's this. I simply step. It simply just becomes way more complex, which is 2 and 2, and then I keep. And simply to prove it, forces to a complex pawn race, which forces into a perpetual check. What am I doing to not lose this game? This is what we call the fat white triangle. As I see my king is on a light square, I'm using a big right triangle to constantly put him in check. Right here, right triangle here, right triangle here, right triangle here, right triangle. Take the pawn to lose or be above reproach. Then Stockfish forces a perpetual check. What's the point of this? The way that I draw in this game is by forcing a perpetual check to the right triangle of my white queen to black's king. Now, the key of this is my king is constantly going here, then black checks, and I defend the pawn. The king moves here, black checks me, I'm going to defend the pawn, so it's a forced draw. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. What is there to learn? Triangulation, forced to draw in this position. When you have the chance to flank with your king, take it. Even if you lose the game, take the opportunity to make it more complicated. If I could beat Stockfish Depth 18, what does that mean you cannot beat somebody in the 1000 to 2000 range? It's the same exact triangulation concept. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and that's all. Enjoy. Out.